like Jessica said, I'm Michelle Arnold, and I'm from Utah State University. I'm getting my PhD with Dr. Joseph Tainer. But I grew up in Syracuse, New York, and I went to ESF, and I was one of Charlie's undergraduate students. And I was at those early meetings in Moon Library. I actually organized a few of these. It was the first conference I ever went to. And what I really clearly remember is AJ getting up there presenting a paper during his master's and just like all hell breaking loose about people arguing, and AJ's like an assessment of what the data that was already out there, and everyone was arguing about boundaries and arguing with each other. Like, I did not want to be part of this whatsoever. So that was like my really first conference experience. And I've been to a lot of conferences since then. I present on a regular basis to my students, but like being up here with you guys, like it's a little different feel. But I really like the research that I'm doing, and what I'm presenting today is innovation in biofuel technology. And it's going to be part of a larger whole that I'm doing for my PhD work out there in Utah State with Joe Tainer. So let's get started. Okay. So outline, I was always told that if the presentation's more than 20 minutes, you should give an outline so your people can follow you. So we're going to talk about some consumption data, then the same with biofuels, and then trends and innovation. Give you my research question, my methods of analysis, my results, and my conclusion. Okay, so we're looking at this data, and what we have is this is the world data, and this is kilograms of oil equivalent per capita in the world. And as we see that's increasing over time since 1973. The one below it is actually shares, so those are proportions that we have. It's over 85% that we still use of fossil fuels today within the United States. So we're setting up the problem here. And this is US specifically. Again, kilograms of oil equivalent per capita. As you can see, it's going down. However, if we go back a slide, if I can do that here.
Michelle, I can't read what the colors are.
Okay. Okay. This is only 0.2 kilograms of oil equivalent for the world. If we go forward, 0.8 or 8.5 is the top there. So we're double the world per capita, even though we're going down. Okay. The colors we have here is petroleum and light green on the top. We have coal in blue that's declining. We have natural gas that's increasing in red. And then we have, what do we have? Nuclear energy in purple, right here. And then we have hydro and biofuels right here. The green is biofuel and hydro is right there. Okay. So those are shares, proportion used. Okay. Okay. So what we have here is still the US, and on your left we have primary energy consumption, and on the right we have all energy consumption. The difference is electricity. Okay. So as we see in the top, it's total energy consumed, and everything is increasing, even though it might be slightly, with electricity increasing drastically over time in the US. Transportation increasing as well. The one below it is the share, so the percentages where you see electricity increasing greatly, obviously transportation increasing, with the other three, industrial, commercial, and residential, all decreasing in their total share. Which isn't surprising, right? Because if we look at the secondary right here, electricity is making up that difference. Those sectors are using more and more electricity, okay? But throughout all of this, we see this purple line is transportation. And it's affected little by electricity, which will mean a lot in a minute, but it's also increasing over time in every way. Here's some IEA data. So we have 1973 on the left and 2005 on the right. On the top is the world data, and on the bottom is the US data. And this is for transportation. These are the changes that have been made in the last 40 years in regards to transportation. So throughout the world, we've decreased our petroleum dependency by 2%. In the United States, we've decreased it by 4%. But we have both of them have a nice natural gas input still. Biofuels are only 5% in 2015 in the total consumption of transportation in the United States. So that's a problem, right? We have electricity that's being replaced by geothermal, wind, solar, all these other things. It might be a slow rate, but it's still going up. Biofuels, on the other hand, transportation is still highly dependent on fossil fuel inputs. Over 90%, and that's over a 40-year period. Okay, but that's okay, right? No. So, when we look at this and we're like, electric cars are gonna save it. If we're doing all this thing with renewables, electric cars can save this. The graph on the right here is showing, what I really want you to take a look at is the red dashes, which is the EV market share percent of annual car sales. So in regards to the United States, which is, I don't know if you can see my thing, which is right here, it's less than 0.5%. So low in biofuels, US is not taking out with electric cars, so here's that problem. But it's not a problem, because you know what? Technology is gonna save us. If you didn't know, it's gonna save us. Technology, efficiency, all of these things are gonna help pull us out of this dependency. It's gonna increase efficiency, it's going to allow us to use our reserves extended period of time. Innovation is indispensable, right? Indispensable in the world that we live in today. Okay. Some work that Dr. Strumsky and Joe Tainer did was looking at patent data. And what they did there is they gauged productivity and innovation through patents per inventor over time. Okay. These are inverse. So you have patents per inventor, and then you have average team size. So as patents per inventor goes down, you have the average team size going up. And this is for all patents that they looked at over time, and it shows that patents per inventor is going down. So the innovation, the productivity is going down over time per individual. And this is for the energy scope. This is just for energy, so we have gas, power systems, solar, wind, and transportation. Similar trends, even though they're not the same rate, are also showing a decline in innovation when looking at patents per inventor. Okay. So that leads to my research question. So, do liquid biofuel innovation in the United States follow the same diminishing returns over time as overall energy patent data? And then, what are the policy implications of that if we can continue to invest in that direction? Okay. So here are the methods I used. So Debbie Strumsky at Arizona State has this really awesome model that she puts through the patent, or the U.S. Patent Service and Trade. And we came up with a bunch of keywords that we were going to use with different spellings because it can't just be one, right? With biofuel, you have to use a dash and a space and together, and it's a whole mess. So we came up with about 40 different words that we put through the system, and Debbie ran it for me. And it came out with 11,641 patents. Well, in any keyword search, that's going to pull stuff I don't want, right? So I got to go through 11,641 patents and read them and decide if they were within the scope of what I was looking at. And that took a nice year of my life. But I got to teach, so it was okay. And we looked at patents between 1976 and 2015 because that was when there was more material for it. We looked at ones before that we couldn't make determinations, so we eliminated everything between 1976. And these are the keywords that I looked at for first, second, and third generation biofuels. I split them up between those so I could make independent assessments, because when you're looking at first generation biofuels, innovation trend might have drastically decreased. However, if you look at third generation, which has come on the scene later, it could still be decreasing at a different rate. So I split up in between the three of those. Okay, and that's what my graphs look like. And this is the patent system that I went through. I got really familiar with all of this. Okay, so the boundaries that I had to make, obviously, because boundaries are important when we're doing research. I was looking at liquid biofuels specifically. So biogas, I wasn't looking at biosolids, I was looking at those things. I was looking at liquid biofuels specifically. Used to produce liquid biofuels, used to increase fuel efficiency. These means like additives and lubricants and these things. Needs to state liquid biofuels directly when discussing reductions in pollution. Include liquid biofuel used in production of something else. Methanol, which we're going to talk about in a second, was included in its own graph, specifically related to liquid biofuel when discussing fermentation. So we're not talking making beer, we're talking about making biofuel. And did not include waste tires or plastic recycling because primary fossil fuel to make those still. So we didn't use those in the recycling. Okay. Reason we pulled out methanol is methanol can be made many different ways, and they're never specific on how methanol is being made when they're talking in the patent system. Also, it's highly versatile. Methanol doesn't just go for biofuels, obviously. It's one of those basic chemicals that can be used in all sorts of different reductions and reactions. So it's pulled out entirely into its own system. Okay, results. Okay, so this is from all of the data that I analyzed, and this is a total liquid biofuel. And over on the left, and you're gonna see a couple slides with this, so over the left, we're gonna get total that were issued, and then we're gonna look at the productivity of patents per inventor and average team size, okay? So as you can see for total liquid biofuels, that even as patents are increasing over time, the productivity for patents per inventor is decreasing. It's decreasing drastically, and I'll give you the numbers of that on the final results slide. And of course, average team number is increasing. 1979 was a really weird patent year in regards to everything, but in biofuels specifically, our keyword search only turned up 20 patents total, with 2 that were used within the data. So it's an interesting outlier. Okay, and you'll see this nice hump in all of the data. Okay. So this is methanol. Again, even though it's pulled out, it's highly versatile, it's made from a lot of different sources, you can still see similar trends. First generation, and I'm going to show you the numbers on this, but it's decreased drastically over time, more than the other two, more than second and third generation biofuels. Again, that 79 peak is still there. Okay. Second generation, declining. Third generation, and when I say third generation, it's specific to algae. Okay, and still declining, but not at that same rate. Okay, so here are the results for those numbers that we were looking at. So again, 1979 was a weird year for biofuel patents. And throughout all the courses, through methanol, total, and all the generations, it's decreasing in patents per inventor and increasing in average team size. It's just at different rates. So the total is 32%, with average team size increasing about 50. And as we go down, we can see that the rate is different, or is declining between generations. So first generation is at 57% decline from 1974 to 2012. And I picked 2012 because data doesn't really settle in the patent system for several years, so we didn't want to do it any closer to 2018. Second generation down 42%. Third generation 37%. Okay. So some conclusions that we can draw from this. Liquid biofuel data over 39 years shows a similar decline in Strumsky et al. In their overall energy data. Methanol is extremely used in many industries, but still shows that decline. And all generations of biofuels decrease in their productivity, but not at the same rate. So third generation started at 0.8 in productivity, and while it did decrease about 3.2, it started at a higher level. So it's not nearly as low than other generations in 1974. And I fixed generations on the other slide, but apparently not this one, so sorry about that.
These are patents?
Yep, patents per inventor. So sorry about the typo.
No, it's just.
Not just you, everybody. Okay. So there we go. And those are my references. Thank you.